Hey, what's up there, everybody? It's Odin here back with you. It's been a little bit, and I apologize, I guess, for being a little more absent lately. Um, the reality is, I just needed a little break from social media and streaming and whatnot. And so I haven't been on other people's shows very much, and I haven't been promoting or talking or doing anything on social media a whole lot. I would check it once, maybe twice a day was kind of my rule. Just for the past few weeks, there's a lot of reasons. One is, when it comes down to it, I'm quite introverted. I think oftentimes people think I'm pretty social, and that's because at times I can have the gift of gab, sort of, but I'm not an extroverted person by any stretch. I'm very introverted. And so as I do these things, eventually it just kind of like wears me down, and I go, I got to step back, and that's where we're at. So nothing personal against anybody, nothing like that. Just one of those things. So it's been a few weeks since I haven't done any driving and singing videos. I haven't made the Sunday video in a while. Um, but and part of I mean, sometimes you just need a break from social media. I absolutely hate social media. And I don't hate it, but it wears on me after a while. I think if I go back, like I remember, like way back in the early like MySpace days, the early infancy stages of um, social media. And I remember I was living in Washington State, and I had so many friends and family in Colorado, and I was like, this is a great hub for me to communicate with these people that I care about that are far away from me. You could do it through email, but like this is a much more interactive way to stay in touch and all this stuff. And I had this one friend, and she didn't use social media, and I kind of bugged her. I'm like, or she did for a little while, and then she canceled her whole thing. And I was like, well, what's the deal with that? It's great for me to be able to interact with you and everybody else. Like, you should get back on. And I'll never forget what she said. She said, well, I did it for a while. I didn't like it. And what I realized pretty quickly was I don't want to know all of my friends' opinions on everything all the time. I think sometimes I just don't need to know everyone's opinion. And I remember at first I was a little indignant by that. I'm like, oh, what are you talking about? Because I can navigate that pretty well, but it made sense after a while. I'm like, yeah, and oftentimes I'll see people bandstand and grandstand and soapbox and champion their passionate belief with 100% surety that they are right, and with all this hubris and vitriol, um, and I know them in person, they would never be that uh, loud and brash and emboldened. But this gave them that kind of platform. And I would just, it started to make sense. Like, I don't want to hear it, even if I agree with it. Because I can often agree with the point and not agree with the approach. And oftentimes, the way it comes across on social media, I don't agree with the approach. And I used to I used to engage it back in the early days, but I was kind of, not really a troll, but I would call myself a mischievous devil's advocate, because I liked shooting holes in people's belief systems. Not for anything else than they were just so sure they were right. And I'm like, even if I agree, I just can't stand this kind of this sureness that you're so right about this issue when you may not even know all about it. And but now you're the authority on it. So So I would just go around like kicking out people's soapboxes, just thump, thump, and watch them tumble to the ground. Now, that said, it didn't ever change anybody's mind. Maybe it got them to think a little harder about it, hopefully. But at the end of the day, I got bored with that and went like, that's not really, again, that kind of like, that's not my personality in real life. That's me hiding behind the computer a little bit and taking on a different persona. Yeah, like, yeah, let's not be that. But anyway, that was the early days of social media. Now, I mean, I almost strictly use it for promotion of the comics we're working on. I mean, that's almost 99.9% of why I get on there. And even then, I find myself at odds or frustrated with viewing it. Like if I scroll for a bit, and part of it is too, I I find that I don't have much time to do it. Even the promotion stuff. I wish I did more of it, but I find that I don't have a lot of time to do it. And it amazes me how much people can be on there or how much they can be streaming nonstop. And I'm just like, what do you do? What do you do with your time? Is that what you do? That's it? Like, you have to do other stuff. And obviously, I'm only seeing that microcosm of their time. But it seems like every time I look, they're all over it. And I'm like, that can't be healthy. Are you letting your shit go by the wayside that's important? I don't know. But I know the thing that I promote all the time and develop your YouTube channel. You know, you hear people say these things and they get thrown around, and I'm like, fair enough. I should do that. But again, it's kind of like this introverted nature. I'm like, I hate doing it. And I actually just hate salesmanship in general. And so whenever I feel that's what I'm doing, like I said, 99.9% of the time why I'm on social media is to do that. And I hate it. So I get burnt out after a while. And then even then, I'm like, have a negative opinion because I'm like, you're not doing enough. You know, you're not on there enough. You're not promoting enough. You're not making enough videos. You're not streaming enough. And it becomes not fun. And you got to take a step back. And so, yeah, that's all I did. But I miss a lot of people, you know. Hopefully people understand. It's nothing personal. It's just something I have to do every once in a while. Plus, just in general, like I said, I have a lot of general life shit that just requires attention and time. And if I'm doing things that feel like a luxury of time and not focusing on something that's more important, I can feel very unproductive, and that sends me into a place that I don't like. So oftentimes I'll just go, this needs to be over here. This important stuff requires attention, and I've got to take care of it. So that's generally what I do. And I'm like, again, if it like comes to my kids or it comes to responsibility things like my job or, you know, maintenance things that just have to be done, it's like, this has to go by the wayside because this is pressing and needs my attention now. And it's something that is vital to my existence right now. So I just go into that mode, and yeah, it happens. You know, I've got my daughters all stepping into their volatile teenage years, and there's a lot that goes along with that. A lot of them shunning me and my opinion, but also a lot of them, like when they open up, I've got to capture that moment and be there for them because it may not be there again for a little while. And you know, knowing all the shit that they're going through, and I'm like, man, it's rough being a teenager. And I'm like, you were one once. And then I think about it, I'm like, these girls are doing so much better than you were. And while you could sit there and be like, this is rough, you know, it's tough that they got to go through. And then I'm like, you had way less of a clue. Yeah, like what the hell was going on in life. Like when I was a teenager, fuck, I was hopeless. I mean, I look back and the people I hung out with, I was a lot of fun, but I had no sense of responsibility, none, and I wasn't really entitled because I was poor. It was more of I just didn't understand responsibility, and so I did all the things, basically all the things you're not supposed to. You know, I drank, I partied, I chased women, did drugs, I fought. Get in fights, do all these things, and I was like, that was my life, and I felt like Jay from the Kevin Smith movies. I was just like, you know what I'm gonna do tonight? I'm gonna get some pussy. I'm gonna get fucked up. I might kick some ass. It was just like, that's your life, dude. Like, this is pathetic. And so I was just tear assing through life, like with no sense of responsibility. And I'd get a job, and I'd be like, fuck this job. I'd quit. Wasn't going to school. Was barely getting by. I was mooching off other people. It was just like I was pathetic as I look back. But I was having fun, and I have some great stories. But it just delayed understanding responsibility. Like just being an idiot. Like I was on a nosedive trajectory into the ground of nowhere. But the gracious good Lord intervened in a lot of ways, a lot of hard ways, to pull me out of that nosedive. And I had some excellent people in my life, all these kind of things. But when I think about my daughters, if I give them a hard time about something, I'm like, just remember, I'm doing pretty good, comparatively, if nothing else. So, and they are doing good. They're beautiful, intelligent young ladies as they're growing up, and they're all ambitious about their own things, and they're all very different. All three of them, totally different. And they're different ages, so it's a lot of dynamics to work with. And then I only get my little slice of time with them, so they're with their mom most of the time. And then it's like, so every time they come here, I have to unpack all the shit that's been going on just to get to the heart of the matter before I can like infuse any of my pseudo wisdom into their lives. But that is like paramount, it's way more important than promoting my books or any of that stuff. So, and not to say that I can't do both, because I do both quite often, but it's like occasionally my brain is only, I don't want to say capable, but my brain wants to focus on one thing at a time, and it doesn't want to deal with other shit while it's focused on this one thing. And it wasn't just my kids, that's one thing. With the changing of seasons into spring, there's a lot of differences around having a property that you've got to take care of, and you go, oh, this is the time to jump on this. If I delay this now, come a few months, I'm going to hate myself that I didn't take care of it, and those kind of things. And then I had car issues. Oh my God. Oh Lord. Yeah, my Jeep that I just got, that I love this Jeep. But it had some issues. I'm not going to go into all the details, but luckily, I got a warranty. I've never got a warranty on a vehicle before because I typically do my own repairs. But I always know that there's some that I'm just not set up to take care of. And, being a newer vehicle, paying a little more, I'm like, yeah, I should get this warranty. I'm so glad I did. Because there's some bigger issues that, needed taken care of. Now they're tip top, but I just Friday got my Jeep back. And, so I was without it for 2 weeks. And in those 2 weeks, I was driving my old car, which is my Nissan Altima, which is a good car for the most part. But I hadn't got it registered in Missouri. The reason being is because Missouri as a state requires inspections to get your registration. And I went, this car isn't going to pass the inspection. I already know that. I knew that to begin with. The brakes were horrible. The windshield had a big crack in it. Like, but I'm tall. Like, the crack doesn't bother my eye line at all. But that's one of the things they'll ding you for. And I was like, there's that. There's probably other shit. It runs and drives fine. Like, yeah, the brakes are bad, and I got to fix them, but they're not going to kill me bad. And, but they were pretty bad. But anyway, so the tags on it were out of state and they're expired. But in this interim of 2 weeks, I still had to drive places, take care of shit, and go to work. And I had to drive my Altima. And knowing I couldn't get it to pass inspection without a lot of big changes, and I couldn't be without the vehicle for that time, I just went, well, I'm going to roll the dice and hope that I don't get pulled over. And I didn't, luckily. But now I got the Jeep back. I've got all the parts to fix the brakes. I could call somebody about the windshield. I can get it ready to pass inspection pretty quick. So yeah. But now I can work on it at my leisure. I do have the parts because I'm doing the entire brake system. I'm doing the rotors, the calipers, and the pads. You know, the entire, all 4-point, totally new brakes all around. Honestly, I should, while I'm at it, just order the hub bearing assembly, because they don't have just a bearing, and it's all this assembly with the studs for the lug nuts and everything. Like, you just put that whole thing on there. It's like I should do that too and get those. I just replaced those not too long ago, but they're cheap Chinese shit that's not made to last. Like, it's probably gonna fall apart soon. So I'm like, while I'm down there and I've got everything jacked up, I should probably replace those too, but I don't know. Anyway, all that's floating around my mind, and sometimes the last thing I want to do is go be social and go on somebody else's stream, and I love going on the stream. I haven't been on the Man Cave in a while. I haven't been on JBot's art stream, the art department, in a while. And that's really kind of the reasons. Is like my brain gets kind of like focused on certain things, and if I'm doing something else, I feel like I'm not concentrating enough on it, as stupid as that sounds. I'm not a good multitasker, if you can't tell. So, but it was nothing personal. It really was just like not in the headspace, really. And the other thing, I was still doing Saturday Night Leaped, which is a whole other thing. It's a whole other ballgame. Like that one is such a, that one's more like a relief. Like, I literally turn my give a fuck meter off and just riff and talk shit all night. And because it's, you know, my channel, I guess it's not really my channel, but it's our channel, is that I don't feel any kind of pressure to like behave. You know, I don't have to show the respects to somebody else's channel. Now the Man Cave is pretty loose, and even JBot's pretty loose, but you know, it's somebody else's channel. You know, I'm gonna show the respect. But you know, on Saturday Night Leap, there's no respect shown, none given, none wanted, none taken. I mean, there's no respect, no respect. I tell you, no respect. There's no respect on Saturday Night Leap. No regard either. It's just a shit show, and but that one I literally just let my hair down and enjoy it. So that one is escapism purely. So I still did that. It's also the timing of the show, like especially the Man Cave. Like it starts right as I'm leaving work, and right as I get home when I want to jump on that stream, I'm like rushing to try to even like get a little piece of being on there. And I enjoy all the people on there, and I enjoy hanging out and talking shit and hanging out. But that one's like just a mad rush to try to like be a part of it. And then J-Bot's art stream is just a little later, which Saturday Night Leap's really late, but it's a Saturday night. Whereas midweek, staying up late, like it kind of fucks with my day the next day. And not for nothing, but the new job is not as new anymore. But I work a lot of longer hours than I used to, and I still have a commute. So it's just all these things are pressing. They're just real life shit. I'm just whining and whinging on about it, but really what it comes down to is I'm just explaining this is why I haven't been as why I felt there was a need to take a break, all that stuff. But that said, I'm making a video now. A friend of mine said, "What's up with the Sunday videos? I haven't heard them in a while." And then I realized, I'm very grateful that anybody watches this at all, and the fact that somebody says, I kind of miss those. It put a little pep in my step to like want to put something out there, and I don't know why people listen to this. Literally, I'm 20 minutes in, and I've just been, like I said, whining and whinging about my personal life. Not even talking about comics. I haven't even talked about comics. I haven't talked about the stuff we're working on. I haven't talked about the drink I'm drinking, or anything more lighthearted. I'm just like, here's all the shit I gotta deal with. So I'm like, why does anybody listen to this, or why do you enjoy it? But I think people enjoy it. Actually, I don't totally know, but I'm guessing just that I am pretty honest, probably to a fault, where I'm just talking away about my life and what's going on, but I have some cool shit, from time to time to talk about. I think, and that was another thing. The last video I made. The last Sunday video I recorded was probably my favorite of all time as far as like the content, the stories I was telling. Because I was talking about how that tornado like was shooting straight up my nose almost the other day, and we were in a fight for our lives. It was a wild time. I mean, one of the most terrifying things I've ever been through. And I had a great story about it. I told it on the last time I made a video. And I'm like, that's a great story. Hope everybody likes this. And I talked about my time at Planet Comic-Con, traveling to Kansas City with my daughter, and we had a great time, and that whole trip and everything that entailed. It was a fiasco in a lot of ways. And I told that whole story. It was a great, long story. A great story. I mean, maybe not, but better story than me just whining about my life. And so I just thought, for sure, that video is so much better because I have these interesting things to talk about. It's my lowest, least watched upload. So I was like, well, that's, disheartening. I mean, not disheartening, but it was more like, But nevertheless, people still did watch it, and people did comment in the comments, having little things to say about what I was talking about. One of which is good stuff, which I appreciate. He's always been a supportive person, and I always support him as well, so. And then, like I said, my friend today is saying, hey, I kind of miss the Sunday video. It's, somebody listens. And I'm like, well, that's pretty cool, because not for nothing, I don't have much of a social life here in Missouri. I've yet to connect with anybody. The people I work with or going out or doing anything, I've yet to really connect with anybody and find a friend group of any kind. So it's and I'm not married. I get my kids on the weekend, but throughout the week, it's so I'm like, yeah, this is my little social. I don't get a back and forth, but that's what the comments are for. People can say something, I can say it back. I thought about streaming, which is definitely more like a back and forth, at least in that sense. But I kind of like this format because it's on my terms, and there's no chat to derail what I'm thinking. This is not that I have some great train of thought, which I don't, but at least, at least I'm not derailed from this horrible train. Um, but yeah, if you want to watch that last video, uh, hear my tornado story. It's pretty cool. So the tornado thing, though, like I talk about it in the other video, but like I never really had to deal with tornadoes. Like that's a new thing since I moved to Missouri, and um, I got a crash course. Like I would see all the signs, like here's a tornado shelter. I knew they had like tornado sirens. I knew this area was kind of known for that, but you don't really know till you know, I guess. And I got this crash course. Like I said, the story was pretty incredible. If I don't do say so myself, the most terrifying thing. Um, but I, since then, have been fascinated with tornadoes, which is funny because I remember it was like the mid 90s that movie Twister came out, and it was a blockbuster movie. It was a big movie. I didn't ever go see it. I had no interest in seeing it. I was like, what a stupid movie. A movie about tornadoes. Come on now. How stupid. I'm like, there's nothing interesting about that. Well, now, having been through it, I'm like, oh, these are really fucking interesting. It's really interesting. What a phenomena. Like, it changed my tune instantly. But I remember I thought that was so stupid. That was such a blockbuster movie. I'm like, what a dumb movie. I'm never going to watch this. Well, I watched it this weekend. On top of the fact, this is after I've been listening to podcasts and documentaries and, storm chasers and every little bit of piece of information about tornadoes that I can pick up right now. I'm just fascinated. And I want to be prepared and I want to understand them better. And it's just so funny how that can change on a dime. But watch Twister. It's okay. It's got some good things. It's got some bad things. It's very 90s. All the 90s movies have a 90s feel, just like all 80s movies have an 80s feel. Has the 90s feel, which is both good and bad. But there was this story through line of him and his relationship with his ex and his new girlfriend that he wants to get married to. That shit was so horrible to watch. Other than that, though, it's kind of like good family, even afternoon, evening watch. So not the worst, but nothing special either. The tornado documentary is much better than the movie Twister, but that said, I was like, yeah, I gotta watch it now. Now it's about my area. Because Missouri's not the most prone state. That's really Kansas and Oklahoma. Those two are like the most prone. Also get like the biggest, but Missouri's had a few, and we get plenty. And, through all this study and learning, like Joplin, Missouri, which is not that far from us, it's about, I don't know, 80 miles from me, is got one of the biggest tornadoes ever, one of the most destructive ever, as it went through the town of Joplin. And not that long ago, 2011, it was fairly recent. And one of the most destructive ever, one of the craziest tornadoes ever. And I'm like, shit, that was not that far from here. And that one that was here, it landed and touched down, from what I gathered, about a mile away. But shit, when I was feeling effects of that storm, I thought it was right on my neck. It was just insanity. And I mean, my daughter was saying she thought she felt the vehicle lifting, and I'm like, from what I've learned about tornadoes since then, we might have been like really right there, because everything I've learned was like, this is right in the midst of it. But, and it was an F2, which is not like the biggest, but still close and too close for comfort. But it woke my ass up to like, hey, you got family to take care of. You got yourself to take care of. You got your house, You could lose this house, but what are you going to do to stay alive? So, yeah, that's been a fun journey. But as I go back to the whole Sunday video thing, I enjoy these for my, I've talked about it before. It's kind of my own dumping of stream of consciousness or whatever you want to call it. And, as long as there are some people watching, like last week was my least viewed, but it's, there, like I said, there's still people watching and there's people saying, where are these? I enjoy them. So, yeah, I'll keep doing it, I guess. And conversely, it's a whole other audience, but there are people that are like, where are the driving singing videos? You don't do those no more. Like, yeah, I haven't done any of them in a while, but I enjoy both. But because it's my channel and it's my terms, yeah, I'll do them when I feel like it. But but again, I never want anyone to take anything personally. If I have an issue with you personally, I'll tell you personally. But typically, I never have issues with people. So, yeah. If somebody has a problem with me, it's my old saying. If somebody has a problem with me, it's literally their problem. It's not my problem. It's their problem. Because I don't have problems with people. I really do. Like, live and let live. Like, until you're actually fucking with me. And even then, like, you can fuck with me. I'll probably just ignore it because it's the best way to handle it. But, I have to be protective of my kids, my life, actual danger. Then I have to, like, take that very serious. But, like, just somebody talking shit, like, I could care less. But so anyway, I never have a problem with anybody. Like, you can talk all this shit, you can do whatever you want. Like, it's a free country. I really do believe in that, like, freedom. And yeah, go run your mouth. I don't care. My credentials or whatever, my what's the word I'm looking for? I don't have the word. Reputation. There you go. Yeah, reputation. My reputation is what it is. And, I try to do right by people as much as possible. And so when somebody's like, I got a problem with you, it's like, it's your fucking problem, not mine. And the only way you can make it mine is to go cross the line. And crossing the line is like children, family, actual danger, and even the slander thing. Like, so this brings up something, we could talk about it. The Ed Piskor, however you pronounce it, suicide that happened fairly recently, which is a tragedy. It's just a tragedy. But one thing that I go back to thinking about that is, for one, I have all kinds of things in life that don't revolve around this world of comic books and streaming and social media. I have outside things that if I got canceled from this whole thing, I would still find purpose in life, And I chuckle when I say that. There's nothing funny about it because as I think about that being a reality where that is my whole world, as I think it was with Ed, then it's very scary to have everybody just flip-flop on you and a whole mob come after you. But what's sad is he didn't know that there's still plenty of people on his side. Maybe they didn't reach out as much as they could have, and that's a thing. But, and this isn't me absolving or caring about the circumstances. It's me caring about the fact that somebody took their life over social media, basically. And it's like, that is very sad. So as I look at it, I go, well, if it feels like the whole world is against me, there's still this core of loved ones that I know wouldn't be against me. And even if those are against me, I would still have to find a way, to struggle through life, because life is worth living. Because as the old saying goes, you only get one life, you only get one amount of time on this earth. And I think to cut it off early, I mean, you're gonna die anyway. You're gonna find an end. To cut it off early, not knowing that there could be a whole other, amount of beautiful outcomes that could come if you stuck it out. So, and then, again, having children or things that give you like a real sense of purpose beyond just this. So, anyway, I don't know where I was going with all that. Oh, I was talking about if anyone wanted to come at me, well, you could try. Like, again, if you canceled me in all these other spheres, I'd still find a way to enjoy life. I just would. There's just too much other stuff besides just this. And when I think about the taking a break or taking a step back, that was part of the thing, like I said, like, how do people have so much time to like spend on social media when there's so much other stuff that needs done or that is a part of life, So again, yeah, if you want to cancel me, go ahead. I wouldn't like it. Of course I wouldn't like it. And I don't want to stop doing. But I think about the people that I probably respect their personalities and how they would handle it was basically just shrug it off and be like, I'm doing what I'm doing. You're either on board or you're not. Cancel me if you want. Like, I'll do what I want. The whole mob go against me. I don't care. Until it comes to like physical violence or anything like that. It's like, hey, I'm going to make what I want to make. And the people that are on board are on board. And the people that aren't, and shout it to the winds and call me all kinds of nasty things, it wouldn't really change anything. Now, that's all easy for me to say because I've never dealt with it, but I would remember that I said this, and I would remember that this is the approach that works. Just don't give in. Don't give in. Just be yourself anyway. Because if yourself is good, you don't have to worry about it. That's about that. Let's talk about like actual fun stuff. We've been going a long time talking about my life and shit. Just come right out of the gates and just talk about all the craziness and not so craziness, the tedium. But the other day went to the comic book shop with my girls, and the first time I introduced them to my local comic book shop, and we had a blast. We were having a blast the whole day anyway, and then had dinner and we watched a movie together. We had a great day Saturday. It was fun. And one daughter was dealing with like kind of some depressing things in her life, and we had just had a good time, and she was able to forget about it for the most part. We just had a good time. But they're kind of starting to get into comic books, which is really making me happy. One girl is into Wolverine, and so I picked this up. Oh, let's see. Over here, I was just sitting there, but because I'm reading it right now. So the Weapon X entire storyline, all collected. Had to get this for her because as she was getting into Wolverine, I'm like, do you not know about Weapon X? And she didn't know what I was talking about. And she's more into him on a surface level, but I'm like, let's go into the rabbit hole. Let's show you what's up. So got her some like, thick collected assortment of Wolverine stories, and then that one. So she's reading that other one because I'm rereading Weapon X, which is a lot of fun. It's funny too. Like, I don't know how long it's been since I read this, but there were a few things that were consciously in my brain when I did Unconditional Shove Monsters Exist that I'm like, oh, I remember Barry Windsor Smith kind of did this. I remember there was some things. And that was like, that would look cool in this book or in this story of Monsters Exist. But as I'm reading Weapon X, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of things in here that were like subconscious, you know, because I'm like, I haven't read this since I was like, I don't know, 14. And even then it was like sparse pick it because I didn't have it collected. I was just reading issues that I could grab. And I was in there like, oh, there's a lot of things that they weren't swipes by any sort, but they were just subconscious nods to the story of Weapon X and all that. So I was like, ah, that's pretty cool. But anyway, I'm rereading it while she's reading the Wolverine stories, and then we're going to switch. So I'm going to reread a lot of those too, which was a lot of the Mark Silvestri era Wolverine stories, which was my favorites. So, and then my youngest daughter, she was like, "Oh, I'm not into comics." And we get there, she's like, "Dad, can I get this? Can I?" But she's really into Avatar: The Last. They all are into Avatar: The Last Airbender because I got them into the anime or the cartoon when they were younger, and now they have these graphic novels of collected books, and I was like, yeah, get those. You know, it'll get you excited about comics. So that was pretty cool. But we had a blast. And I picked up this one, which I love. Another big collection of creepy stories, 11 through 15. And the artwork in these is always so damn good. And, you know, as much as I talk about EC Comics, you know, because they were the kind of the OG for these anthology stories and stuff like that. And they set the tone. But the creepy, and writing wise, it's about the same. And maybe even the EC ones are better. But they're about the same. And I think they even swipe a lot of the stories and just basically tell the same story. And I love the old EC artists, you know, Graham Ingles, Jack Davis, Al Williams. Al Williams or Williamson. I always want to say Williamson. Al Williams, I think. But these guys were amazing. But the artists in Creepy and Eerie, I think, are just some of the best. And that's like the benchmark that I want to get to. As I look at those, I'm like, that's how you do it. Why isn't there more stuff like this, you know? So as I read those and check out the artwork, I'm like, that's what I need to do. My only issue with the stories is sometimes they're just too short. And I get why they did it, but it's like if you just give it another 4 more pages or 5 more pages, I'll really tell this much better. So because they were like capped at like sometimes 6 to 10 pages or something. You know, they weren't very long at all. But that said, they're still very enjoyable. I love reading them. Just and then, you know, just loving the art. And then let's talk about what we got going on. So the drawing has taken a little bit of a slowdown. Again, it comes back to the same, you know, just dealing with more pressing issues and stuff. But this one was finished a little while ago. This page that's here. This is Unconditional Shove Volume 2, the story that I'm working on, and it's so close. You know, we just have a couple more pages. Underneath it, which, you know, even if I lifted it up, you couldn't see anything because the pencils are so light. Like, I could show you, but that's what it looks like. You guys can't even make that out. But Kill Them Dead, that's being worked on, but it's not good screen fodder, so I threw this one up here. Even though that one I shared like quite a while back, but they're still being worked on, just life and all this stuff. So my drawing slowed down a bit. I'm hoping to get back on track with that as well. As far as Broken Compass news in general, Magnificent Bastards #2 is about to launch, probably within a month or so. And the cool thing about that is if you missed out on Magnificent Bastards #1, it happens, whatever. It's a fun story, and I think it definitely sets the stage for issue 2. You could pick up issue 2 and probably enjoy it just totally fine, as is the case with ongoing series. I think people should write it that way, and James is writing it that way. But issue #1 right now, if you missed out, you can I'll put it in the description. You can download it for free, a digital version for free, and read it at your own leisure, in preparation and to whet the palate of Magnificent Bastards #2, which is about to launch. #1 was a lot of fun. It's the whole reason, actually. Not the whole reason, but it's what sparked a lot of why James and I work together, is because I read that book and I really like what you're putting, and I'm picking up what you're putting down, man. I like this. Digging this. This is a lot of fun. The humor's good. The intrigue's there. There's a lot of things where you go, I want to know more. It's like the Starship Troopers. Would you like to know more? I would like to know more. And as you go on the journey, and now with the new artist, it's going to go a lot faster. But as you go on the journey, those questions get answered, and a lot new questions get asked. But issue #2 is looking really good. It's coming along pretty quickly. So, and the new artist, an excellent cartoonist, and you can tell he's having a lot of fun with this story. And yeah, it's hilarious. That's all I can say. Hilarious, but again, it's loaded with this intrigue and wanting more. Excuse me. Drink beer. That's what happens. So I'll be launching soon. And then shortly after that, which is in signups right now. Both of these are in signups right now, but Bastards will be launching soon. Shortly after that, we'll be launching The Splash, which is one of the ones I'm most excited for. One of the ones I think everybody in the world, I talk about Magnificent Bastards. I go, there's a certain audience, or Unconditional Shove. Well, there's a certain audience that's going to dig this. The Splash, I think anybody, young to old, any age, can enjoy this. Now, it is specifically a children's book, but this is the type of book you can feel comfortable sitting down with your kids of any age and knowing that they're getting a great story that tells a message that is encouraging and pertinent to their young lives as far as their development and understanding virtue and core strengths that humans should understand. And those things are learned at a young age oftentimes. And, talking about courage in the face of adversity and teamwork and, caring for your fellow man. And so, it develops empathy, but it develops strength and courage, all these things in this wonderful children's book. That the other cool thing about this children's book is it's entirely Skunk Artworks. And if you don't know who Skunk Artworks is, that's unfortunate for you, because he is extremely talented as an artist and is just as a creative person. And the highest praise I can give to a story that you would want to give to your children or read to your children or have them read to you is that the man who created this story, I can vouch for as an excellent man of honor in his own right. This is the type of thing he would make, as he is a father, that he would want to give to his kids. And that should tell you everything you need to know as far as what kind of messaging is going to be put forward to these young, impressionable minds. Now, the other thing is there's a bunch of eye candy because he's such an incredibly talented artist, second to none. He's so good that, regardless of whether you think the story's elementary, which nonetheless, like, there's things that we can glean from it, but also enjoy just as a story. You're also going to get this phenomenal artwork overlaying this story. So definitely one that anybody could pick up, but especially if you have young people in your life that you want to give it as a gift, or you have kids of your own. You want to know you have a good quality story that you can read with them. With artwork that is going to be inspiring, like it might inspire them to be a better person, but it might also inspire them to want to pick up a pen and brush it to paper in an artistic way. Kids are so artistic. I absolutely love the artwork that my kids did when they were young. I still have, it's unbelievable. I still have stacks and stacks of artwork that they made when they were young. It's so freeform. It's so unfettered. And I had a friend. She was one of the few people I would call an artist. And she always wanted, like, she's like, can your kids send me some art? She loved it. And I was like, well, you're one person I think would appreciate, 3 or 4 year old art. And she's like, appreciate it? I prefer it. So that could definitely be a byproduct. All that said, like, I think anybody of any age is going to enjoy this. But again, especially if you have children. And this is Skunk's solo project. It's he's working everything else he does a lot of commissions, and he works with me on Kill Them Dead. Like, a lot of other things are collaborative in a sense, but this is his baby. This is what he's poured his heart and soul in, and again, him being a father, this is what he would want to present to his kids as a great story. So that speaks volumes. You're going to enjoy it, and your kids are going to enjoy it. And again, the message will be good. So all that praise to be said, that very excited for The Splash. So you got Magnificent Bastards 2, The Splash. We have Unconditional Shove Volume 2, which is it's either going to be this or Cascadia following those. So Cascadia is another one that is pretty much any ages. I would say that's more like a young adult readership, but also very much, again, can be enjoyed by adults. Definitely enjoyed by adults. Ryan, another person of character that I've come to know. He's a person who cares about the young mind and teaching virtue and things like that. So it is a funny dichotomy between what we do at Broken Compass Entertainment, because we've got The Splash and Cascadia, which are very wholesome in their story and in their structure and the underpinning morality of the tales. Now, I definitely want to throw that into Unconditional Shove, but it's not for kids at all. And the Magnificent Bastards definitely not for kids. So we can make some crazy wild ass stuff, which is our want to do. But all of us being fathers, it's like we also want to make sure that if we are making something for a younger generation, that's going to be something that we would feel confident giving to a younger generation. Adult stuff, it's like, yeah, we make some crazy stuff just because it's fun and entertaining, but that's certainly not for kids, and you got to know that. But it's not like it's some X-rated crazy comic books and stuff, but you know, we touch on some darker themes and things like that. So there is this juxtaposition dichotomy within what we're doing, but nonetheless, I believe in all these titles. I think they're all quite excellent and great for the audience that they go to, and the Cascadia and the Splash, great for any audience. And then we also have Paper Machete, which will bring it back to like the crazy, wild, very gory, very violent story. But even still, it has a moral underpinning of, if nothing else, courage in the face of adversity and things like that. But that one, we know the artist is going to be. Good Stuff and James are working on the story. I don't know what all is going to be able to be launched this year, but a lot of this will be launched this year. It's going to start with Magnificent Bastards 2, The Splash, then it might go Cascadia or Unconditional Shove Volume 2, Paper Machete, and if at all possible, maybe even another Magnificent Bastards volume, because the new artist is much faster. We don't have to deal with that anymore. The slowness. And so there's a very, very real possibility that we could get all of those launched this year. Now, whether we want to, there might be some strategy in staggering those just away, but we still got a lot of year left, so we'll see. Now, the one I didn't mention as far as that is Kill Them Dead. That could very well launch this year as well, but especially once I'm done with all of the shove drawings that I'm working on, because the other stories are with other teams. I just know Kill Them Dead, we relaunched a little prematurely. We've talked about that many times, but it is a very ambitious and time-consuming project, but I'm not going to sacrifice it. I'm not going to make it less than what it needs to be. So I don't have a definite timeline for it, because it's just, with as much as we put into it already, I'm not going to half-ass or walk in the rest, you know. We're not going to phone in or mail in the rest, you know. It's like we're definitely going to make it what it needs to be. So that's it. It just takes a little longer. The artwork's really good. I'm working on all the pencils, and then Skunk's painting over that. And then the music side of it is, again, I have to book time at a studio and fly out there and do all that. So it's just a big, ambitious project. Very well could launch this year. I would love to launch it this year, but I have to get more done and get a better feel for how fast we can go with it once I feel Unconditional Shove Volume 2 is more ready. So yeah, I just don't want to half-ass anything. And like I come back to all the time, is we're all fathers. We all have our day jobs, but we don't want to sacrifice the quality of what we're putting out just because we have those excuses for time-wise and stuff. So it's either understood, if it's a deal breaker for somebody, fine, whatever. But, the timing is just what it's going to be. So we're going to have a lot coming out this year under Broken Compass Entertainment, and hopefully Kill Them Dead could be one of those, but that said, it could be launching early next year as well. So we'll see how it goes. Like, if I can get a fire lit and really start going on it, we could see it start happening fast. But it's a big, ambitious book. It's not small. It's gonna be big, and the accompanying music is a big thing as well. So yeah. Anyway, we're approaching an hour, and I'm tired. So let's wrap this up. That's what we got going on. As always, I appreciate you guys checking out this show, and again, if I take a break anytime, just don't take it personal. It's just me being what I do. But thank you for watching the stream, especially if you watch it all the way to the end like this on a very long one where I'm just rambling. Thank you. And as always, I hope you're facing all your obstacles with power and confidence and courage and all those things that would be you would have learned as a child if you read The Splash and Cascadia. um, and that, yeah, you face it all with integrity and those things. Again, if a cancel mob comes after you, you probably won't be as shaken if you really do stand on those foundations of doing things with as much integrity as possible. So do that. Typically things will usually work out for you. So anyway, this is Odin. Until next time, be awesome, and we'll see you later.